that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade up. Damage, then you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade up. Damage, then you gon' pay up.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade up. Damage, then you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Turn it way up, turn it way up.
Crank that volume, turn it way up, way up. Crank that volume, turn it way up, way up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up, way up. Put your hands, put your city, put your fans, put your state up.
Yeah, look, I ain't about to tell you twice. We on different levels and you better get the balance right. We not eye to eye, we are not alike. You couldn't even be me in another life. Don't hit me on my phone, yeah, I'll get back when I'm posting. They wanna blackmail cause they see I'm going posting. I've been at the top since I came over. I've been in control, yeah, it's game over. Born great, no, I ain't asked for it. Chasing the throne, I'm coming back for it. I never quit, fading the black for it. Never hang it up, I need a black for it.
Right or wrong, you can try to fake it, it won't last long. Right or wrong, running down the cup, but it's the team strong. I would never let up, I'ma last forever. That's how I'm moving on this side. I would never let up, I'ma last forever. That's how I'm moving on this side. This side.
What is up, all you fine folks out there in North Central Ohio and beyond? No, I am not Brian Skoronsky. Brian is out on assignment. We'll check in with him in a little bit, but I am Travis Berardi here with the West Virginia Report podcast, as Adam has up in the graphic. On today's show, we have a packed show. We have Upper Sandusky Golf. Head coach Graham Treadway and Brock Montgomery are here via video call to talk with us about what they have upcoming for the district tournament. We're going to talk a little bit of football over the weekend. The AFC North stinks, and I will explain why here in a little bit. We have our Phenom nominees, our top play nominees. We'll look in on that volleyball match Brian is calling right now, and we will talk also with Lucas Wickiser about the Browns as well as the Buckeyes, who are on bye week. But let's start off with Upper Sandusky Golf, the Northern 10 Coach of the Year and the Northern 10 Golfer of the Year, Coach Graham Treadway and Brock Montgomery via video call. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Yeah, we're good.
Good? Awesome. So let's get right into it. Coach, how long have you been at Upper Sandusky first, coaching golf?
This is my 19th year coaching golf at Upper Sandusky.
And you've had some names over the years. I know Brock's brother Brett, a pro golfer pretty much now. You've seen him. You have Brock out there as well. Just how much of a golfing family are the Montgomerys, Brock?
It started as a young age. My dad got us into it, and ever since then, it's just kind of spiraled. The whole family's into it now, even my mom.
Oh, really? How's she golf out there?
She hits it pretty well, but the 8-iron and the 3-wood go the same distance, so that's a bit of a problem.
Oh, that's great. Also, I got to compliment you guys on the podcasting equipment you have there. It's a nice setup you guys have.
Thanks. Yeah, I do a podcast. I teach history here at Upper Sandusky also, and I do a little history podcast thing.
Motivates me to go out and not only play good for myself, but it's a team sport and go out there and provide for the boys.
How often are you out on the links practicing and things like that?
Normally about 5 to 6 days a week. Give me a day or two to just take a break, live life,
He's out there all the time. He and his dad play 36 holes minimum every Sunday.
Jeez. Man, I wish I had that time to do that. You go out with him much, Coach? Do you do much golfing with him, Coach?
We lost you a little bit there, Travis.
Oh, okay. When he goes,
yeah, I play all the time.
A
lot of times I'm just watching, but I get out there with him and try to help him out.
Now, when he's out there during a match, when your team's out there during a match, what do you how do you help him out? I know there's sometimes during a match, coaches like to just let them go through any problems they have, but what do you like to do as a coach out there if you see like a swing is a little bit off or mechanics are off, things like that?
I try to give very little mechanic advice during the round. We save that for practice, and I sort of preach going out and being athletes and know where your target is, know where you want to hit the ball. And I try to get them to not think too much about their swing while they're playing. Now, that being said, occasionally there might be something way off. But other than that, it's very little. It's mostly trying to get them to think about the game and more strategy than it is about the swing.
Yeah, it is. I know it is a very mental game. I've golfed pretty much my whole life, and if one bad shot and you get in your own mind, it's tough to really get out of that. But how do you work with that, Brock? Say you take a bad shot or anything. How do you keep yourself mentally, positive to bounce back?
I'm big on just one shot at a time. I mean, once you already hit that shot, it's over with. You gotta focus on the next shot, and I mean, once you hit it, you can't go back. Kind of have that mindset, like before preparation going in the shot, you gotta have the decision made, and there's no going back once you're stepped up to the ball. Just go up and hit it.
What's your strong suit out there on the course? Do you have one certain aspect that you're just much better than the rest, or is everything kind of balanced for you?
I'd like to think that I hit it farther than everybody else, and that can be a strength some days, and sometimes it's a little bit of a disadvantage, get me in a little bit more trouble than some of the shorter hitters. But I'm big on trying to get every single part of my game up to par.
I like the pun you had there at the end too, Coach. You've seen his brother. You've coached his brother. How does he match up with Brett right now? He's only a junior, I know. He still has a year left after this, and he hopefully has still a couple more weeks left of the season. But at this point in Brett's year as a junior, how does he match up?
They're very similar, honestly. They're similar kids in a lot of ways. I think is a little more cerebral than Brett was. Brett was really just kind of went out and had fun, was always laughing and just kind of talking to the guys he was playing with. And Brock's a little more internal about the game. Skill level, they're very similar. I do think probably Brett might have made more long putts. And he was always making 22-foot putts. And that's maybe Brock's only thing that he doesn't keep up with Brett on. But as far as just hitting the ball and playing the game, they're very similar. I mean, we were comparing averages not too long ago, and I think Brett's junior year was his best year average-wise. Mm-hmm. And what was he? A half a stroke around ahead of Brock. So
wow, that's great.
Brett averaged like a 70.9, and Brock's averaging basically like a 72.1 or something like that.
Wow, that's a number that I probably will never see in my life golfing, but that's phenomenal. Brock, do you think you can, after high school, if you go to college or if you don't go to college, are you going to try and be like your brother and get out there on the pro circuit?
I'd like to maybe try that one day. I might be a little more practical than my brother. I know how good some of those players are, especially seeing how they compare to my brother. But at the end of the day, I mean, golf's meant to have fun, so we'll see how I'm enjoying it by the time college is over.
That's a great mindset you have right there. 363 is the score that you guys shot as a team at sectionals. Coach, just what went down in that sectional round for you guys?
Yeah, we just kind of struggled on the putting greens all over the place. Everybody putted poorly, and even Brock included. Brock had probably more putts in that round than he's had in a couple rounds combined. And just was one of those nights where, or those days where no one really played great. It was weird because we had probably our best week of practice leading up to it, and I guess that's the kiss of death sometimes. Maybe we had a little too much confidence.
Despite the downfall probably with the team, Brock, you still qualified. You finished third, a 78. You shot 38-40 in the round. What did you learn from that round that you can use on Thursday?
Yeah. I mean, again, I didn't play my best.
And he really can't do that at Wasika. It does you harm if you're hitting it that far there. It's a lot of 90-degree turns, and so this place is more of a link style where he can open it up, and he's going to end up, it's going to be driver and then and hitting wedges into a lot of greens there. There are some tight holes and there's a lot of water, so he's super accurate as well. So I think this course really sets up very nicely for him. We're pumped to go play it.
And Eagles Landing last year in districts shot a 78, a 40-38. We're just 2 shots off of making it to state. Is that kind of like a chip on your shoulder coming into this year, being so close to making it down to Columbus that you want to get there now?
Yeah, for sure. And as I just referred to that one hole that has my number, that's going into that last hole. I knew that I was in position to make it to state, and I ended up fumbling a little bit. So again, not only the chip on my shoulder of not making it to state last year, but the chip on my shoulder of knowing that that hole does have my number, but yet I can overcome that.
Coach, final question for his round on Thursday. What is the one thing that needs to go right for him to clinch a spot down in Columbus?
I think it's all up here. He keeps his head on straight and plays one shot at a time. We're making hotel reservations on Thursday night, so his game's good enough to do it, and his mind's there too. It just has to stay on tight on Thursday.
Do we know what's the weather forecast for Thursday morning?
A little chilly. Looks like it's going to be probably about 56 in the morning, and there's a chance of rain, but it's probably not going to be much. And high of 70, so a beautiful day to play golf.
Awesome. Well, Brock, I wish you nothing but the best of luck at districts. Hopefully, we'll see you down in Columbus. And Coach, hopefully you can make those reservations on Thursday night.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
Hey.
Have a good night.
Hey, you as well. Thank you to Coach Graham Treadway and Brock Montgomery for joining us there. And, nothing but the best for him. Montgomery's just a great golfing family, as you said. Even mom's out there hitting that 5-iron, that 6-iron, that 3-wood together and things like that. So thanks to them. Let's move on now and talk a little bit football-wise. This weekend, not good for the AFC North. The AFC North pretty much stinks right now. It's a mashing unit out there. Kenny Pickett down with an injury. Watson couldn't play. His arm pretty much fell off. You had Joe Burrow still playing injured, and then you had Baltimore that they played well because of a rookie quarterback that went out there and really didn't have a good day. Brian, if he was here, he said it was kind of comical watching the way the Browns did the quarterback play down there earlier on Sunday, but it's just not good football right now for that whole conference, that whole division. Before the season, people were talking, hey, maybe get 3 teams in the playoffs. The way these teams are playing right now, we might only just get your division winner right there. But there's still a long way to go, and we'll talk more with Lucas about the Browns here in a little bit. College football-wise, though, Ohio State on a bye week this week. My Mountaineers go down there to TCU and knock off the Horned Frogs in a big upset, 4-1. Neil Brown, first 4-game winning streak in his career at West Virginia, so we're riding high down in Morgantown, West Virginia. Also, on the high school side of things, on the OH.Report, I want to show you this highlight. The inadvertent whistle, it struck the Browns a couple weeks ago, cost them a touchdown. Inadvertent whistle cost one of our Danville Blue Devils a touchdown as well. It's a tough play, but we'll show it to you right here. Your thoughts, should it have been stopped? Should it have not been stopped? We'll see. It's tough right there because you'll be seeing here on the video that the running back under center takes the snap, kind of gets held up a little bit by the pile, but it didn't seem like it was long enough for the referees to blow the whistle. Our own commentator, Bryce Coder, even mentioned he doesn't really criticize referees that much, but that call it came a little bit too quick, and it cost them a touchdown. Despite Danville rolling in that game, anytime you want to get a touchdown, you need to get one there. So that's just a really tough call for them. And let's show that to you now.
It may just be worth sending it, and that's what looks like they are doing. Bossart in motion under center. He takes it himself, a bit of a trick play. He pushes forward for 3 yards, 4 yards. They blow the whistle, and they're going to say that he was down. That wasn't. I am sorry. I do not like to make calls about what the referees have made, but that was clearly a mistake. Briar Bossart with the touchdown all day long. Another look at this one. He fights in the scrum. At no point does he go down. He continues to fight through. The referees, I believe, realize they've made a mistake, and they're trying to figure out how to rectify it, or if they do in fact just rule it down.
So there you have it, Briar. I'm sorry. That's just – I don't even see the pile stopping at any time. He was moving forward the whole time there, and the referees just got a little jumpy on the whistle. It cost you a touchdown, Briar, but great play. Still needs to be shown here, and we'll put it in the books for us. When I get stat leaders, maybe I'll add another touchdown for you, because that should have been a score for you, Briar. And I've just been told by Adam Thompson, my producer, it took him 8 minutes to actually talk about it. But once the whistle blows, even though it is inadvertent, that's where the play stops, and it's just a tough break right there. Speaking of high school football, though, it is time now to unveil our Friday Night Phenom nominees for week number 7. Here they are. Presented by Knox Community Hospital, in the community for the community. If you're curious if the Danville Blue Devils are legit this season, look no further than their signal callers stats from Friday night, where they pretty much ended the game in the first quarter. Walker Wickiser played like a man possessed when he exercised his dominance on both sides of the ball. 9 of 12 passing, 135 yards through the air, 41 also on his feet, 3 touchdowns. He also picked off Cardington's quarterback in the first quarter and had 5 tackles. Oh, and he only needed 3 quarters to get these numbers. Forget Georgia, these Devils look like they want to head down to Canton. Nominee number 2 was on the dance floor last Saturday night doing the worm at homecoming, and Friday night he was moonwalking down the turf at the Castle, catching 7 balls for 105 yards while reaching pay dirt 3 times, helping the Golden Knights bounce back with a 27-6 win over East Knox. Our next nominee has the Ontario Warriors partying like it's 2001, as signal caller Bogpin Miller did it all on Friday, making defenders look silly on the ground for 88 yards and 2 scores, while also going to the air for 219 yards and 2 more scores for the 7-0 first-place Warriors. Check out sophomore Aiden Raymer showing out just like Big Bro, totaling 4 rushing touchdowns and 189 yards rushing. Crestview rode the workhorse to a dominant Firelands Conference victory over rival foe Plymouth. Raymer's quick twitch and patient running was next level on Friday night. Our next Phenom nominee only needed half of football to make our roster, because Galleon's Braxton Prosser was cooking up the Highland defense like Gordon Ramsay. Only this master chef was serving up a full platter of pigskin pay dirt with the side of pickle juice, 3 courses of touchdowns to go alongside nearly 250 yards of greens as the Tigers sauteed a much-needed victory in MOAC play. Next, we take you to Fredericktown, where this Freddie had 4 touchdown plays only as a sophomore. He is known as the one and only Blake Sipes. He went 7 of 12 passing for 196 yards, had 3 touchdowns through the air, and also a rushing touchdown to go along with his 14 rushing yards, being a major component in defeating the Loudonville Redbirds on Friday. Our final nominee scored a 42-6 road win for Colonel Crawford over Upper Sandusky, and this Eagle brought out all the plays. Quarterback Trevor Vogt ran for 132 yards and a 3-pack of touchdowns, putting his team so far in front that the senior signal caller got a chance to play wide out in the second half, cementing a monster night with a 62-yard TD grab as Crawford cruised to their 6th win of the season. It's time now to vote for this week's Friday night. It is a double dip Monday, so until the end of the night, you have a chance to vote that counts as 2, not 1, but 2 votes for this week's Friday night Phenoms. Now, it is time to take a look at our nominees for the top plays of the week for week number 7. Here come your top plays from week number 7 of the high school football season, brought to you by Knox Community Hospital, in the community for the community. Do you ever feel like things just fall into your lap? Well, on Friday night, Northmore's Can Goldbach had that happen as this East Knox pass is tipped right into his diving arms, setting up the Golden Knights' first score of the night in their win over the Bulldogs. Our second nominee is not the sharing type, as Ontario's Landon Foltz high points Bogpin Miller's pass and takes it right out of the defender's hands, saying, "That's my ball, you shall not have it," before strutting his stuff for our cameras. We take you out to Jeromesville for nominee number 3, where we enter a no-fly zone thanks to Hillsdale's stud safety Braylon Jarvis, who high points a Smithville deep ball to secure a game-icing interception. This was the second INT for Jarvis to feel like a king on homecoming night as his Falcons soar to a rivalry win at home. You can look but not touch our next top play nominee, or at least that's what the Plymouth defense did in this 77-yard touchdown run by Crestview's Aiden Raymer, who looked more like a butterfinger than a running back on this play, because nobody lays a finger on the speedy sophomore as he burns it down the sideline for a tasty Cougar score. Our fifth nominee comes from Fredericktown, where it's 4th down in the 4th quarter, and the Freddies are only up 6, looking for another score to secure a win, and Blake Sipes throws a 29-yard flying saucer to Gavin Toombs, who would weave his way through a flock of Loudonville Redbirds to get the final touchdown of the night, a crucial play in a 28-14 victory. Our final nominee pulled the old switcheroo on a 62-yard bomb that put the icing on a blowout win for Colonel Crawford as quarterback Trevor Vogt time into the bucket and Vogt empties it out for 6, capping off a 4-touchdown night for the senior. Vote for the best play of the week right now by submitting a comment below. And there are your nominees for the top play of the week for week number 7. And just like for the Phenom nominees, it is a Double Dip Monday. 1 vote counts as 2 until midnight tonight. Moving over to volleyball right now, where the leaders in the Mid-Buckeye Conference, Mansfield Christian, is taking on the Lucas Lady Cubs. Let's give you a live look-in with Brian Skoronski.
Reagan on the far side, excellent setup, and tickles the twine. Booming shot there off of the hardwood. Gets the serve back for Peterson. Looking for 6 straight points here off the tip. Lady Flames absolutely crushing it. Cubs trying to find their bearing here on the road early on. Standridge to the net. She gets met this time by a double team. Second opportunity, and she delivers yet again. Reagan Standridge, back-to-back kills. And we say what's up to you watching live and free out there on the OH.Report video podcast. Big ups to Travis Berardi holding it down for us tonight, and I'm sure he's got awesome parlays and picks for Monday Night Football coming up for you guys, as well as that Upper Sandusky crew, the golf team, having a sensational season, just about as good and as impressive as Mansfield Christian's has been. And this is the Mansfield Christian video production media crew, for those of you watching out there on the podcast. So I've got 4 students helping me out. Want to shout them out before you get back to your festivities. We got Joy Hahn's going to be a sideline reporter. Summer Strong is our video switcher here tonight. And Maddie Melton, Sarah Porter, our 2 camera operators. Definitely wanted to give them some love. And we'll have plenty of action from Mansfield Christian coming up throughout the rest of fall sports season and then into the winter months and spring as well. But with that, we'll flip it back over to Travis and the gang. Have a good podcast, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Skoronski. And you and the folks down there at Mansfield Christian, the kids, are doing a very, very good job. You see, we even got the sideline cam out there. But that's one of the best things about working here at the OH.Report. Not only are we bringing you some quality high school athletics and whatnot, like the podcast and things we like to do for fun, but also we get to help the kids out there. We like to, give them some love. We help them out. Maybe they want to be like us down the line. They want to work in video production. Well, we're able to help them out there and teach them a little bit. So it's one of the fun parts about the job, and they're killing it down there at Mansfield Christian. Before we bring in Lucas, I need to bring you, as Brian said, my bets for tonight. Monday Night Football coming up, Seattle and New York. And here's my place yins bet for tonight. Geno Smith, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, 25-plus rushing yards. Kenneth Walker III, over 50 rushing yards. Tyler Lockett, over 50 receiving yards. And Danny Dimes, under 234.5 pass yards. He only went over 175 once this season. That was that comeback against Arizona. There's also a Monday Night Football boost on DraftKings, so with those picks and the boost, it'll pay $122.50 for a $10 bet. Without the boost, you still get $85 out of that $10 bet. So Geno Smith, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Selfishly, I need him to throw 3 so my fantasy football team wins this week. Danny Dimes, 25-plus rush yards. Kenneth Walker III, 50-plus rush yards. Tyler Lockett, 50-plus receiving yards. And then Daniel Jones, under 234.5. And that game starts in exactly 17 minutes. So, for the last few minutes we have here, let us welcome in our good buddy, our Browns and Buckeyes reporter for the OH.Report, Lucas Wickiser. Lucas, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Travis. How you doing? Can you hear me out there?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear, my friend.
Yep, I just was making sure you could hear me okay. But I haven't done fantasy football, but I got to tell you one thing. I feel bad for anybody who picked the Browns defense this last week. Yikes.
I think any defense in the AFC North. The AFC North stunk this past weekend, man. Just I was watching my Steelers do nothing against Houston on the day that they let J.J. Watt into their Ring of Honor. They played like J.J. Watt out there against Kenny Pickett and company. But I did keep an eye on the red zone a little bit of that Browns game, just a breakdown that tough loss to the former Browns, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, I don't know where to begin. I mean, well, I guess I do know where to begin. Like with the defense, I'm just shocked at how bad they played. I mean, I know Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback, but they made him look like a world beater. It was just frustrating seeing them not be able to make tackles. It was almost like Joe Woods was wearing his best Jim Schwartz costume the other day, and like he snuck back on the sidelines. I mean, nothing seemed to work. And for the offense, I just think Stefanski made some bad play calls that didn't put DTR in a good position, because the way I look at rookie quarterbacks, or how they probably should be, is they should start out as game managers. I mean, yeah, you want them to let it rip eventually, but for the main thing, you just want them to make sure they don't turn over the football. They take care of things. They, make short to medium throws, make the sure throws. And Stefanski just looked like he put DTR in too much trouble, and he was in over his head. And so I really don't blame DTR for this, but as far as everybody else, they got a lot of work to do, and they might need that extra week, because the 49ers, who are arguably the hottest team in the league right now, are coming to Cleveland in 2 weeks, and I'm not looking forward to that. Yeah,
I saw that in person in week 1 when the Niners just steamrolled the Steelers. But DTR, 19 of 36, 121 yards. His longest pass was 16 yards, 3 interceptions, 4 sacks. It was just a 25.3 quarterback rating. It was just like you said, a very bad situation that he had there. And it seemed like he was trying his hardest to chuck the ball downfield, but he just wasn't getting anything under it as well.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't getting anything under it. And I think the microcosm of the game also was I don't think the Browns also ran the ball as much as they should have. I mean, I know that Baltimore's a good run defense, but it almost seemed like when Drew called back thanks to an unnecessary hold by Cooper, that it took the wind out of their sails. I like when they started off running the ball, but then after that hold, it was like they went back into their shell. And you can't rely on the passing game with a rookie quarterback against a defense that's going to be hungry. And, to be quite honest, and I know Watson's had his injury issues with his shoulder. He was cleared to play by the medics and by the team doctors, but still decided to sit. And I don't agree with that. That doesn't sit well with me.
No, it doesn't, especially the way you were seeing. He was active, though, for the game, correct?
Yeah, he could have played. I think he was cleared by the doctor.
He even come in at the half or something like that, yet he didn't. I don't know if that's on the coaching or it was just him deciding to sit out, but that's just a bad look, especially after, you lose Chubb. You have to have that leader out there, and Watson wasn't showing it.
Yeah, and perhaps this is me just being a fan, but like, if that was me, and I have cerebral palsy, so I could never play football, but if I had half his skill and I was ready to go, I would have been out there. I would not have let a rookie quarterback get fed to the wolves. But, if we go to the other extreme, Baker Mayfield, when he was still here, wouldn't know when to sit down. And so it's just like you got to find a happy medium. But unfortunately, Watson didn't show up, and he better light it up in 2 weeks, so there's going to be a hot seat for him after the Niners game.
Yeah, so despite, you lose Chubb to that horrific injury against the Steelers. You lose Watson with the shoulder, the bad shoulder. After 4 weeks, what is your report card for the Browns thus far?
From an A to F scale, I'd give them a solid C. I mean, I didn't really know what things were going to be like going in. I mean, I know a lot of Browns fans, including Brian, were saying division champs, and I thought at their best, and I still think at their best, they could win the division, but I knew that they had to be at least 500 going into the second part of the season. I'm okay with it. You're beating teams you should beat or have a good chance to beat, but they still haven't taken that big step. I mean, you got to beat Baltimore. You got to knock off San Francisco. You got to knock off the Steelers in Pittsburgh, which you guys got some black magic or something over there, some voodoo or whatever it is, but we can't win over there. But for the Browns to make a big step, they got to win some of these games they might not be expected to win, and unfortunately they dropped this one with a thud.
How icky is it going to be rooting for the Steelers next week to beat the Ravens? So a win for you guys. Well, you have the bye week, but to keep you guys in the race as well.
The question is, can they both tie? What's the tie do for them?
For us, but for you guys, it'd be getting closer. Yeah, that I don't talk about ties, because the last couple times we had ties like with you, it cost us a playoff spot. So ties don't. That's
Right.
we'll keep that with soccer and
Right.
stuff like that. What is your take on Ford, the way he was able to play?
For the times Ford did play, I like him. He's a solid runner. I don't know why, but whenever I talk to my dad about Jerome Ford, I go, yeah, he's a good little runner when the guy's like 200 pounds. But he kind of reminds me a little bit like Dearness Johnson. I mean, he's not flashy. He's not like a Nick Chubb. I mean, nobody's like a Nick Chubb, but he definitely does fit Cleveland. He's like a bring your lunch pail to work kind of guy, and he'll grind for the extra few yards. I just wish they'd give him the ball more. They'd give him the ball more and let him grow into this, because even though Chubb is injured, he is now the feature back, and it's time Stefanski starts treating him like it.
And, things just got even more bizarre this week with what the heck happened with David Njoku lighting himself on fire accidentally. Did you see the video of him with the mask and everything? I mean, the guy, talk about gutsy, going out there playing, having a few catches in that game, but that just adds on to a crazy season as it is for the Browns.
Oh yeah, definitely. I didn't see the video. I did see the mask on his face or like the mask or whatever he's using to cover his face. I did see that. And I did see it was a fire pit injury, and I actually have been slightly burned by a fire pit before. Nothing like what he had, but it does sting, and sometimes there's an accident there. But I will give him that. He gutted it out, and I don't want to pin the loss on Watson, but when I saw he was cleared to play, I'm just like, okay, and Njoku's out here hurting. He's playing. Why are you not out here? You can't tell me unless your shoulder is dislocated. You shouldn't be out there. But Njoku's got guts. I'll give him that.
No, absolutely, and that's maybe he's finally that's the leader that the Browns need is David Njoku. Now he just needs to show why the Browns made him their tight end. Let's move on to the Buckeyes. You guys beat the Bye by what 28-35 points. Are you guys calling for Day's head because you guys didn't win the Bye by that much, or what do you like with the Buckeyes so far after that big win over Notre Dame?
Well, I was going to say, if we did beat the bye week, we didn't cover the spread, that's for sure. But no, I like their toughness with Notre Dame. I mean, the thing that drives me nuts about Ohio State fans, and I love our passion. I love the passion of any college football fan. I'm sure you got some passionate Mountaineer fans like yourself, and
riding high, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's always good to have passionate fans. But with programs like Ohio State, they're super unrealistic. But we only were expected to beat the Irish by 3, and that was the spread. We beat them by 3. And I did like how Kyle McCord gathered things up and made those throws when he had to. It didn't look pretty, but he made the plays when he was supposed to. And here we are, still undefeated, going to the next game, which is Maryland. So I'm okay with Ohio State. The true test will be now when we play Penn State or Michigan later in the year as for how much this team has grown over the culmination of the season. Penn State's going to be the next big hurdle, but I think Ohio State will roll until then.
Did you see the video of Cade Stover chucking that cornerback, then making a catch against Notre Dame?
Yeah, I did. That was awesome. But,
threw him like a rag doll.
Oh, man. Well, when you think about it, Cade Stover's got that farm boy strength. He's about 6'5". I think he's 6'4", 6'5", and about 260, so he's massive. And I still don't understand, and maybe they could have done something with this. I texted my dad and my brother-in-law when Ohio State missed one of those goal line opportunities at the goal line to score. I'm like, why didn't they have Cade Stover in as a fullback and bring in an extra tight end or something? He could have pounded it.
I think he mentioned that as well. Yeah, I mean,
right.
How many NFL GMs saw that play of him just throwing the guy and then still making the catch on the sideline and thought, we need that guy on our roster right now?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few. I love Cade Stover's physicality, and I wish Ryan Day would use him more. I mean, he's using him enough, which I'll give him that. He's getting him involved, but with a big tight end like that, it is underrated. And I know we're talking about Ohio State, but I'll go high school for a split second. We have a big tight end in Carey. Dominic Yater. He's about 6'4", 200. You don't get a kid that's 6'4" usually in high school football, and he naturally creates a big mismatch for teams. And so I hope Day uses Stover that same way as we go through the rest of the season here. He needs to get involved.
Let's talk about the Blue Devils for a minute. Huge win over the Colonel Crawford Eagles. It looks like you guys are on that road back to another Northern 10 championship, but does it feel like this is another one of those teams that could make a long playoff run?
I think so. I like their physicality. I like the way they've picked each other up because there was a special teams mistake against Crawford that allowed the Eagles to creep back into the game. And they took advantage of it like good teams do. And initially I was like, okay, I kind of was watching like how the boys going to handle this because it was an instant momentum change. And teams that aren't ready usually would fold after a play like that. But instantly the next play, Austin Edecor, our kickoff returner, ran one back for 40 yards and set the offense up, and they didn't miss a beat. So I think they definitely could make a run somewhere. I'm not going to say state because at least not yet, because there's a lot of other good teams out there. But we'll see what happens. I think the Blue Devils could win the conference. They're supposed to probably win the conference again, and it would not surprise me if we made a bit of a run in the playoffs. But I'm going to wait to see what happens before I can start crowing about how good the Blue Devils could be on the statewide stage here.
Yeah, and I mean, they had a really tough non-conference as well. Was it Hopewell, Loudon, and then Galleon as well? Their 2 losses. They had a chance to to at least tie Galleon late, but just couldn't score. But it's not how you start the season; it's how you finish, and you can still get a Northern 10 championship. And you guys are in the top. I think you're top 6 right now in your region as well. Right. So Cary, it's setting up pretty well if Cary can just finish business throughout the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the last time I checked, we were 3rd in the region, and I think Bluffton is number 1 in Division 6, Region 22. So hopefully the Blue Devils can keep rolling here. They should. I know next week we got Bucyrus, and I don't want to put any of our opponents down, but they really are struggling. I don't think they've won a game this year, and so that's Cary's homecoming game. And then I think they got 2 straight road games against Upper Sandusky and Seneca East, which those will be tougher than I think people expect. And then depending on what happens from there, we'll see if the Blue Devils host a playoff game. But right now it's looking good. The first 2 games, and I'll admit it, that after the first 2 games, me and a lot of other fans were like, the sky has fallen. But after they rebounded with a nice win over LCC and did what they did to Crawford, this is Cary football. So I'm definitely excited for our boys. They're first class. They're great kids, and we're always glad to have you guys in Cary for a big game.
Oh, absolutely, and Cary, baby, we love our Cary Blue Devils up there, and
that's right.
That was one of my funnest games to call. Was me and Brian at Hall of Fame Stadium calling that state championship. That was a great night. I know, a great night for Cary, but it was a great night for us as well. Lucas, man. 4 minutes left before kickoff of Monday Night Football. Do you have a prediction for tonight's game?
I don't have a score prediction, but if I had to pick who's going to win, I would say Seattle. I just think something about the Seahawks. I mean, they're a competitive team. Geno Smith, he's kind of rounding back to form in his career, and that'll be interesting to see what he does going forward. But I don't really have a score. I just think Seattle's going to take care of business here, and the Niners should still win the West. But it'll be interesting to see what they do later in the season because I think San Francisco plays Seattle and then two of the 3 weeks late in the season. So, but yeah, I would pick Seattle to beat New York. I just think the Seahawks have got it, whatever that it factor is this year between those 2 teams. So I need to watch NFL Red Zone besides just the Browns. I need more football in my life instead of just sadness.
The big question is, will Geno Smith get me my 3 touchdowns I need to win my fantasy league this week?
Ooh, yeah, he might. I don't know how bad the Giants secondary is, but he might. So we'll see. I'll tell you what, he's a bit of a dark horse for fantasy. I've never done fantasy football, but that's a gutsy choice, Travis. I like it. Going Riverboat Gambler with him, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, former Mountaineer too. And the way he played last year, might as well. He's my second quarterback, so there you have it. There's my bet once again, folks. If you want to roll with me, you have about 2.5 minutes if you want to get that in on DraftKings. But hopefully, I finally get a win for you guys, so you can cash in with me. Any final words, Lucas, before we head off to Monday Night Football?
Nothing much really, except anyone who's tuning into the show, we need as many people to watch the show as we can. These guys do a first-class job, and it's always a blast being on here with you guys, and it's just a lot of fun anytime I can come on. And even though the Browns are struggling right now, like they usually do, it's always fun chatting with you guys. And I will say thanks for taking it easy on me, although maybe you wouldn't have been so kind to me if the Steelers had won yesterday. You would have probably been lowering the boom on me there.
We beat you already, so that's enough pain for you guys as it is. But no, you do a wonderful job. Make sure every Saturday and Sunday to read Lucas's recaps of the games and his previews as well. Lucas, you do an amazing job, and it is a pleasure to have you on here each week.
Thanks, Travis. Likewise.
All right, thank you, Lucas, our resident Buckeyes and Browns reporter. We got about 90 seconds before Monday Night Football, so we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks to Brian Skoronsky for giving me the keys to the ship tonight. Thanks, Adam Thompson, as well, and Madeline Zazzuto, our producers for the evening. As you look at Mansfield Christian looking to stay atop the NBC. They lead 1-0, but the Lady Cubs looking to bounce back. So head on over on our Facebook feed. We'll have the rest of that game with Brian, and you can also watch on our YouTube channel as well. But, yeah, I'm going to go watch some football right now. Hopefully Gino helps me out tonight. But for all of us here at the OH.Report video podcast, I bid you a farewell.
Game won't stop, no, I can't fit in your box, whoa, that's demolish shop, froze, set the scene, no plot, hoes, whoa, please don't play me, cause when I let the beat sound, you think I'm crazy, but none of you critics gon' faze me, so when I talk like this, don't blame me, I know I'm bad with it, go against a goat, that's bad business, all of y'all are jokes so sick.